If you want to use any props at all, it might be a cushion or a block that you could use this morning, but there's no obligation. And also there's no obligation on how you will sit. If you want a very smooth transition, you might sit upon your heels in that case and rest the hands down. This is where a block might be more handy than a cushioning, as you can place that between your feet and maybe sit a little bit more comfortably. But as I said, if that's not yours and you're struggling maybe with the deep flexion of the knees or the hips don't like this pose, you can just lie down as Sammy is demonstrating here. Or if you struggle with this position too, you can sit in any other form that might feel good for you. While you are coming into sitting, please close the eyes and adjust yourself down onto your seat, kind of leaning a little bit back into the sit bones and the usual little tilts and wiggles across the sit bones. Maybe the pelvis is tilting forward and back a few times, gaining a sense of grounding, centeredness. And if your eyes aren't closed, please steady your gaze, allowing yourself to check in for a few breaths. Doing nothing, just being here. And this week I'm bringing back something that I haven't used for a while, and that's my card decks. So for this week, Ganesha wanted to be the center of attention. And in the Ganesha deck, we've got the healing card. I would like to infuse your practice with the words that come along with this card, as they might set a nice tone for your practice. Ganesha is pictured sitting on a peacock. Peacock feathers have been used in curative remedies for thousands of years and across countless traditional cultures. They are said to carry spiritual medicinal energy that can assist people seeking balance and healing in their lives. The challenges of daily life can throw you out of balance with the truth of your being. It is easy to get caught up in the daily grind and in a general feeling of lack. Remember that you were created from the perfection of divine light and love. Your physical body is simply a shell that covers your soul. True healing is only possible when you take responsibility for your own well-being on this earth and your self-empowerment. See yourself as complete, healthy, and whole. Ganesha prompts you to believe that you truly are capable of handling any matters of health or relationships without blame and with integrity and grace. While you might want to invite the healing, the centeredness into your practice, maybe into your day or week, I'd ask you to slightly deepen your breath. We'll begin with a balancing pranayama or breathing practice. It's called Nadi Shodhana, and I assume most of you have practiced that before. It's alternate nostril breathing. If you need to look up, please do. We will use the right hand, and you can have your index and middle finger either folded into the palm of the hand or resting and hovering over your eyebrow center. The little finger will be folded into the palm of the hand, and we're using the thumb and the ring finger to close the nostrils. It's important that you keep your spine upright. And if you need any support, you can place the opposite palm underneath your elbow to hold onto your arm. Let's take a breath in and out. Then closing your right nostril and inhaling just through the left. Open the right, close the left, and breathe out the right nostril. Inhaling through the right nostril. Close the right, open the left, exhale, left nostril. That completes our first cycle. And you're inhaling again through the left nostril. Exhaling through the right. Inhaling through the right. And exhaling through the left. Please simply continue with the breathing technique, alternating your nostrils. And if you feel in any form stressed or limited in your breathing, you can also just use the hands fakely and visualize the alternating of the nostrils, or even visualize the whole practice. As you allow your breath to travel in through one, it exits the other, and then you're breathing in again and changing nostrils to exhale through the opposite. As you notice yourself within this practice, notice if you're straining or rushing in any form, keeping your breath rather balanced. Please continue for a little longer. Completing the cycle of breaths that you're in right now. So once you're exhaling now from your left nostril, you can complete the practice by resting the hands down and reflecting for a moment on how you're feeling now. Then turn the hands around so that the palms of the hands are now resting on your thighs. If you are seated in another form, you might choose to join us. If you place something underneath the buttocks, you might choose to remove that. And as you inhale, we're sitting. And with the exhalation, just sliding the hands forward. Lowering your gaze down, but there's no need to lower the head down at this stage. Just leave your shoulders open, the hands spread out onto the mat. And with the next inhalation, lifting your hips away from your heels and coming to all fours. You might need a little bit of adjustment on the distance of the knees as you place them underneath the hips. You're allowing to use Hasta Bandha or the hand lock by grounding down through the bases and lightly through the pads of the fingers. Keeping the head in a gentle lift as you are on all fours and grounding down through shins and tops of the feet, which hopefully with these Hasta Bandha and the grounding through the legs will give you a sense of inner strength. And we're pushing and pulling this morning. So while you're inhaling, pull the hands in towards the body, resist the movement though as you're rocking a little forward, and then bring the hands towards the front of the mat, of course, down, getting there, and the body rocks a tiny bit back. So on the inhale, we're pulling the hands in, body is trying to resist, and yet it's still coming forward. And then we'll push the hands to the front of the mat. The body's resisting again, but we're moving a little bit back. And now keep that going for a little while, just pushing and pulling with your hands. The whole body strong, aiming with a little bit of deep sitting resistance to reduce the movement to a tiny little rocking movement. Be filled with inner strength as you go about this. Beautiful. And then find balance in the center. And extend your right leg out, but leave your toes tucked under on the floor. We'll continue the push and pull. And as you push the hands towards the front end of the mat, we're also extending out into the heel of the back foot. And as you're pulling in, you're releasing that lightly. And keeping the inner resistance just as you did on all fours. And just pulling and pushing for a few more rounds. Just moving forwards and back. And then as you come into a pause, lower the heel of this foot down and swing the other foot lightly behind you. Walk your hands in front of your knee and then round up as you're breathing out and lifting the arms up towards the ceiling as you're breathing in. Now come into Rudra Mudra, touching your thumb to your index and your ring finger. Let your right arm just lower gently onto the extended leg. Stretch up into the left hand as you inhale, and then bend into gate pose, sideways over your leg as you're breathing out. Leaving the hand just sliding down, holding your mudra. The gaze might be forward, and the shoulder is back. Staying here for another breath. And then let your arm and shoulder roll in. Release your mudra. Place the hands to the front of the mat. Tuck your toes under. Either you've got both knees on the floor for a kneeling plank or both knees off the ground for a full plank. We'll encourage our tailbone towards the heels as we're happily holding in the strength. And then lean a little forward on the inhale. And you may round your back up for a first downward facing dog. On the in-breath though, land your knees back down onto the mat. Take care of your alignment again as you switch your hand lock on, grounding through bases, pats off the fingers. And we will extend our left leg out, the toes are tucked under. Have the same strength though in the arms and in the upper back. And as you bring the hands forward, we're pushing out to the heel. And then come into the pull and push action of your hands. Just a few times forwards and back. As you come to pause, lower the left heel down. Swing your right foot a little behind. Walk the hands in front of your knee and breathe out to roll up. As you inhale, raising the arms up towards the ceiling, thumb to index and ring finger. Let your left arm lower onto the extended leg and breathe in to reach up into the right. And as you're exhaling, then bending sideways, keeping the top shoulder back. And might just softly slide down the leg. A few breaths to deepen the side extension in Parikasana, a gate pose. We're then releasing again, letting the upper arm and the shoulder roll down. Releasing the mudra as you place your hands down to the front of the mat. You can choose again between kneeling or full plank. Tailbone towards the heel, space between the shoulder blades. And as you inhale, push forward. On the exhale, raise your hips back up, downward facing dog. One more time, inhaling, lower your knees down, untuck your toes. This time, slide the hands further forward. Anahadasana, leave your hips above the knees. Lower the forearms down, release the forehead down. And also called the heart melting pose. So let your heart melt towards the ground. You might explore sensations in the chest, in the upper back, in your shoulders. And allow yourself to open the heart as you let it melt towards the ground. Stay there, a couple more breaths. Once you completed these breaths, lift the chest again and lower your hips down carefully. So we're in a swings pose. The elbows are resting underneath the shoulders. Tops of the feet are down into the mat. The heart is lifting. The pubic bone is gently drawing down towards the mat. Shoulders are at ease. And on your next out breath, you may look down towards your right foot. On the inhale, coming forward. And on the exhale, could you look down to the left foot? Now you might choose to repeat that once more to each side, just turning the upper body. So you come back to the center, then into your swings. On an out breath, let your elbows spread out and lower your forehead down onto the mat. We're in a gentle crocodile. You can leave the hands resting, bend your knees and let the legs just sway from side to side. Releasing through the lower back, hip area. And then let your feet land softly on the ground again. Slide your hands back by the sides of your ribs. Breathe in as you come up onto all fours. Let your toes tuck under, but stretch your hips up and back this time for a puppy pose. Puppy and all fours, both very good alternatives for downward facing dogs, if there happen to be too many. For those of you enjoying down dogs, you can lift your knees off the ground. And you can also start to pedal out your legs as you encourage one heel down and bending the other knee. And then continuing that as you walk your feet to the front end of your mat. Take a half lift as you lift your fingers against your shins or thighs. And breathe out to soften back down into a forward bend. Let's wait for the out breath. Lower belly is going to tailbone and then curling yourself up slowly into standing. Raise the shoulders as you're breathing in and shrug them back and down as you're breathing out, turning the palms of the hands towards the front of the space. Mountain pose, Tarasana. If you like, you can lift all of your toes off the ground while you step your feet into hip distance, then soften the toes to the mat. Soften your knees now as well and let your arms begin to swing just around your body. Let that movement become deeper as you're lifting the opposite heel, turning away from the side. You may tap one hand to a shoulder and potentially even look straight behind you. And as you let your arms release again by the sides, maybe your stance has widened to shoulder distance. And if it hasn't, please step your feet this far apart. aligning the outer edges of the feet now. And while you breathe in, raising the arms again over the head, touching the palms. Soften the knees, take your hands through the midline now and fold all the way down into a standing forward bend. Half lift as you breathe in. The knees can be soft now. And as you exhale, folding all the way. So the weight leans a little bit forward here in the feet so that the tailbone is high. Knees can be bent as much as you like or is comfortable for you. And we will take our right hand and reach for the left ankle. Anywhere outside of the leg is fine too. And as you're inhaling, then starting to raise your left arm, coming into a twist. As you're in that twist, you might choose to balance your weight out so that the pelvis is in balance as well and the twist occurs through the back. If you want to, you can wrap your arm behind the back, but keep your shoulder back as you hold the twist. Feeling into the feet for a sense of groundedness, into the upper body for mobility. And then soften it all back down. Let your hands hang back down towards the ground. We'll take across the left hand towards the right ankle or outside of the leg. And while you're inhaling, twisting again, raising this time your right arm. If you're looking, I'm still not moving that shoulder very much. So please feel free to lift the arm all the way, balancing out your stance. And potentially letting that arm drop behind your back. Maintaining a balanced stance across the feet, the legs, the hips, and a twist in the upper body as the shoulder keeps moving backwards. And then release that. Let your body drop back down. Lean the weight again lightly forward in your feet if they've gotten lost. And if you can, place the hands down, lift the shoulders lightly. Stay here for another 2 breaths. And once you complete it, you may rise up onto your fingertips. You can also use a block for a half lift. And then heel and toe your feet a little bit closer in so they return to about hip distance. Take a breath in, lengthen your spine out towards the front. And as you breathe out, step your right foot back into a lunge. You can lower the knee down, or if you don't, breathe in and collapse the lunge. And with the exhalation, starting to roll up into standing. Lifting the arms up towards the ceiling as you're breathing in. And then bring the hands to touch down in front of the chest as you're breathing out. So standing in the lunge, hands at the heart. Now extend into the back leg and lean your torso a little bit forward. So we're moving on towards an arrowhead pose. And to do so, hook your thumbs up in front of you, turn the palms towards the mat and spread your fingers out. For welcome, if your shoulders are a bit sore, to keep the hands here, or lifting both arms up around your ears. Leave the thumbs hooked and reach forward, right under the ears or alongside the ears. And maybe drawing back a little bit on the left side of the hip to realign it with the right. Torso leaning forward, arms may be extended. Stay another breath. And then releasing your hands down and stepping your foot back into a downward facing dog. Here's your alternatives if you like all 4 stand-up happy poses. On the inhale though, let's roll the spine forwards and come into another plank or a kneeling plank. Tail goes back towards your heels. The elbows stay close, and as you breathe out, descend either all the way for a cobra or halfway for an up dog. As you breathe in, lift the head and the chest. And on the out breath, beginning your transition into either your 4 stands, if that's what you're moving from, or back into a downward facing dog. Allow yourself also then a little bit of time just to return to your breathing. If you require some movement in that down dog, please move. There's no need to hold yourself back. We're exploring our bodies and listening in, much more important. For your next in-breath, raise your right leg. And for the out-breath, aim with your foot between your hands. Please help it there if it doesn't get there naturally. And on the inhalation, then collapse this lunge too. Now, when you're breathing out, raising your right arm, coming into a twisted lunge. The same here with the hips. Just gently guide the right side of the hip in alignment with the left. And you may lift up onto the fingertips and use the strength of your legs rather than of your arm. Swing your arm back and down by the side of the foot. Step the foot to the front of the mat. Hands can slide up the legs for a half lift on your in-breath. And on the out-breath, softening back down into a forward fold. Now, as you inhale, bend your knees, sweep your arms forward and up. And on the out-breath, let the arms release again alongside the body for a mountain pose. Stand, if you like, close the eyes. If you don't, steady your gaze. And reconnect again to the sensations and the strength of your feet. That moves all the way up the legs, the torso, until you reach upwards with the crown of the head. On the next inhalation, raising the arms again, maybe lifting your gaze. Soften the knees on your out-breath, bring hands through the midline and folding down. On your inhale, lengthen the spine forward for a half lift. On your out-breath, step your left foot back. Again, knee might be coming down onto the floor if you prefer. On the inhale, collapse the lunge. On your out-breath, roll it up. On your inhale, raise the arms. And on the out-breath, bring your hands together in front of the heart, softening the back knee. So while you're centering yourself in your lunge here, on the next exhalation, start to extend the back leg and lean your spine a little bit forward. If you choose to complete the arrowhead, hook the thumbs up with the other thumb on top. You will feel which one the other one is. Spread the fingers out. Your choice is to hold here if you're challenged in the shoulders, upper back, or to lift the arms up, maybe all the way up around your ears. Keeping your right hip gently drawing back to align with the left. The core is lightly on as the spine is leaning forward to protect your lower back. Notice the quality of your breath, the alignment of the pelvis. Another breath here. Then releasing your hands back down onto the floor. We'll go through a vinyasa if you choose to, but that can be on your knees or can come from a down dog as mine. As you breathe in, roll the spine forward, come into your plank variation. On your exhale, lower down towards your mat or onto it. Inhaling for a cobra and upward facing dog. And on the out breath, begin your transition. You can have a couple of breaths here if you prefer. We'll meet again either in down dog or on all fours. And once more, do I encourage you to come back to even breathing. Get a feeling for the alignment of your down dog, where you might feel the extension coming from the shoulders right up towards the tailbone. And there's a little softness in the knees. And yet still you're leaning the weight evenly into hands and feet. On your next in-breath now, raising your left leg. On your out breath, bring your knee forward and then aim with your foot between your hands. On the inhale, collapse the lunge. On the exhale, twist as you raise your left arm. Same here, you might draw the left side of the pelvis in alignment with the right. And as an option, could you become light in the fingertips on the floor, relying much more on the sensations and the strength of your legs. Then release the hand down, step the foot forward, take a half lift for an inhale, and fold back down on the exhale. I will ask you to stay here and use the rolling up again as you engage the lower abdomen to tail and breathe out to roll up slowly into standing. Lift your shoulders while you inhale and shrug them back and down to land again in the mountain pose. So while you are grounding yourself again in this mountain shape, really feeling the support of the earth underneath, so have a little bit of a dance. So to bring in a bit of joy to the practice, not just the strength and stability. For this movement, start to touch the palms of the hands together in front of your chest. You can stay standing at the front end of the mat unless you need to see me, because eventually we'll step back from there. While you're breathing in, raise your arms and lift your right knee. When you exhale, cross the foot over behind. Bring the hands to the heart and a twisted squat as you bend your knees. On the inhale, then raise the arms and the knee, flex the foot. On the exhale, transition hands to heart, warrior three, extending the leg all the way back while leaning your torso forward. Then breathe in, raise your arms again, lift your right knee once more, step the foot behind and across and back into your squat as you bend your knees. Let's raise the arms again, inhaling, lifting the knee. Exhaling, extend your leg out to the front. Inhaling, lift the arms and bend the knee. Cross behind, twisted squat. Inhaling, lifting the knee and the arms again. This time, bring the hands to the heart and your ankle to the thigh. Same as in our arrowhead lunge, lean the body a little bit forward. We've got almost a chair pose-like shape. Give a flexion in the foot that you raised. From here, lift your knee and your arms again. This time, as you bring the hands to the heart, step the foot far back. Lower the heel, allow the toes to open, and take a breath in to raise the arms while you're extending your legs. Bring thumbs together with index and ring fingers. And on your out breath, come into warrior two. The front knee is bending, arms going out to shoulder height. And you're looking at the front hands mudra. The arms are out, the gaze is steady. The knee is aligned with the toes and over the ankle there at the front. And you might repeat silently or even out aloud to yourself. I rest at my center and draw strength and joy from my center. Exalted warrior from here, so lower the right hand, raise the left arm, maybe your gaze comes up. Keep lifting through that side, resting barely any weight into the leg behind you. And if that is your choice, straighten the front leg and keep reaching up as you're inhaling. Actively keeping a reach into the left arm, but starting to lean then forward. Lifting the hand from behind and straight into triangle pose. As you keep the sides of your waist long, your gaze can either come up with a light chin tuck, or you can look down towards the ground. Keeping extension through the arms and extension through the chest area. Now let both knees come to a bend. Let your hands rest in between your feet and turn the front foot to align with the back foot. So they come into a parallel position. You might be on your fingertips and lengthen your spine forward on your next inhale, but then can you land your hands down underneath the shoulders and come into standing forward bend. So the weight now leans a little bit forward into the toes while the heels stay grounded. The shoulders get a little lift into the shoulder sockets. Taking then your right hand and reaching in the direction of the left ankle. Again, anywhere along the leg is fine. And while you're inhaling, starting to raise the left arm and coming into a twist. Same here, please aim for a balance, stands across both of your legs. And if it feels right, that left arm can drop behind the back, but keep your shoulder open and moving into the space on your side. Centered in your stance, centered in the pelvis. And then release that. Bring your hands down onto the floor. Heel and toe your feet together. And place your knees down just about onto the mat. Rolling up through your spine with your knees underneath your hips. And extending the arms up as you're inhaling. Let your arms then circle behind your back. And maybe the hands can go flat into the lower back with the fingers pointing downward. Start to lift from the sternum. Chin can stay tucked in if your neck is sore. If your neck is happy, bring the chin forward and then carefully guiding the head back. Keep lifting from your heart, but you may reach down towards the heels if you want a deeper version of the camel pose. Breath right into the heart center as if you could propel it further upwards with this breath. And to release, bend your hips, let the hips sink down towards the heels. Make fists with your hands, place them out in front and stack them, and rest your forehead onto stacked fists. Few deeper breaths in and out. Then bring your hands back down in front. Lift your hips away from your heels. Extend your right leg out towards the side. Roll up through the spine. Rudra Mudra, if you choose, thumb to index and ring finger back into the gate as you let your right arm lower and bend over to the right hand side. Come out in the same way, so let your arm and shoulder drop forward, but only place that one hand down and bring the other hand into the side of the waist, dropping your shoulder back. Option to extend this arm, option to extend the other leg as well. Vasisthasana, side plank. We'll take the hands back down into a plank or kneeling plank. And if you like to transition, come through a flow with me. Otherwise, take a rest. So inhale for a back bend. And we exhale to return or start our return back to down dog or full stand. I suggest from here to walk the feet forward to the top end of the mat. To inhale there for a half lift. And to breathe out and fold again. Wait once again for the exhalation. Using lower abdomen to tailbone as you breathe out to curl up into standing. Give the shoulders a lift and a shrug as you turn the palms again towards the front of the mat. Take a moment in your mountain just to stand. Feet are feeling very grounded, connected to the earth, and the crown of the head is reaching in the opposite direction. We'll practice the same balancing sequence on this side. So if you can, stay at the front end of your mat. And with the inhale, raising the arms and lifting your left knee this time. Bring your hands to the heart and cross the foot behind. Bend into your knees for a twisted squat. On your inhale, raise the knee in front, lift your arms up to the ceiling, flex the foot. On the exhale, hands to the heart and a warrior three as you extend the leg back, lean the torso forward. On the inhale, lift your knee, your arms again. Step behind and across and a gentle squat. On the inhale, lift the knee and the arms again, flex the foot. Exhale, extend the leg out in front. Inhale, bend the knee, lift the arms. Step behind and across again for a squat. Lifting arms and knees once more. Inhale, still flex the foot, but your ankle now comes to the thigh. Your hands in front of the chest. Torso is leaning a little bit forward. Maintain the flexion in your ankle. Keep your spine long as you pause. Lifting your knee and lifting your arms, inhale. And step the foot far back and bring the hands to the heart. As you land the heel, your toes are pointing outward. Extend both of your legs and stretch the arms up. Rudra Mudra, thumb together, index and ring finger. On your out breath, bend the front knee. Let the arms come down to about shoulder height. Turn your gaze point over the front hands mudra. I will rest my back arm. You can leave yours lifted. Keep a bit of softness through the shoulders. Your knee at the front is aligned over ankle and in line with the toes. And in your mind or out aloud, you might repeat, I rest in my center and I draw strength and joy from my center. Letting the back hand lower and the breath in to raise the front arm as you find your exalted warrior two. The gaze is up, a little chin tuck, but your gaze may also just be down towards the ground. And your next option to straighten the front leg. So you keep reaching up into the top arm on the inhale. Keep reaching into that arm, but bring your arm forward. And then the other one might lift up towards the ceiling for your triangle shape. Gaze can begin up or down. Little chin tuck if you're looking up it. Active in the front side to turn the knee in alignment with the toes. Let your arms swing down and your hands release somewhere between the feet. Turn your front foot and align it with the back foot. Lengthen your spine forward on the inhale and then fold all the way down on the exhale. Keep a subtle lift here of the shoulders happening as you lean the weight towards your toes. We'll now take the left hand and reach for the right ankle joint. And with the inhale, could you lift the right arm for your twist? Keep centered in your stance and in the pelvis. But if you prefer, that arm can wrap behind the back while you keep your shoulder open and the twist in the upper body. Then relax the arms back down. Heel and toe your feet back into about hip distance. Then place your knees again down right there at the back edge of the mat. And bring your hands in front of the knees, but wider, about shoulder distance. Now, if you have a bit of pressure issues going on in the head or in the blood, I suggest to stay here. If you can tuck the chin in and place the crown of the head down. If you land it like this, you will have an alignment of your elbow resting over your wrist. Would ask you in that case to use the hands in the floor, but also to lift your shoulders into their socket. This is a fairly safe inversion, and you can stay here for a few breaths. However, some of you without any neck and shoulder issues might choose to take it deeper and tuck their toes under and raise the knees away from the ground. It looks a bit like a down dog resting on its head. These are only options. Please remember, nothing is there that has to be, just choosing. Letting some of the blood flow down into the brain, stimulation, nourishment. Stay yet for this breath. And then if you lifted your knees, bring the knees back down. If you lifted your hips, bring the hips back down towards the heels. And make fists again, stacking the fists in front. Maybe it's the other fist on top. Sometimes we don't even know. And as you rest the head down here, we're bringing the head back in alignment with the heart. Allowing the flow to become balanced again, while you might choose to gently and slowly roll the head from side to side. When you center the head, bring the hands back out in front. Lift again away from your heels. Extend your left leg out towards the side. And on the out breath, rolling up to stand on knee and foot. On the inhale, extending the arms up, Rudra Mudra if you choose. And it's the left hand that folds to the leg. And we're bending over towards the side. Creating length in the side body once more. And then roll the upper arm and shoulder in. We'll only place the right hand down with the left hand in the side of the waist. The shoulder comes back. You may extend your left arm towards the ceiling. You may lift your knee off the floor and come into full side plank. Let's release. Both arms down, turn towards the front, lower your knees down and roll over so you can come to sit with your legs extended out in front. If in general a forward bend is rather challenging for you or you like support like myself, you can either use a block or roll up the end of your mat. And then pop yourself up onto the roll. We'll come into head and knee pose. The right leg is bending and you may place the sole of the foot all the way up to the inner thigh. But if this is too much for you, the foot can rest anywhere against the leg. Take your fingertips to the ground. Raise the left side of the buttocks. Pull the straight leg a little bit in. And this way, we're facing the leg. You may bend the knee, but please flex the foot, toes pointing upwards. As you inhale, sit. And with the exhale, leaning the spine forward, allowing the hands to release, and then also maybe tucking the forehead towards the knee. If you keep the foot in a flexion, there's a good extension across the fascia backline, especially if we tuck the forehead down towards the knee. But again, these are only options, so making your choices. Staying here, a few more breaths. And walking the hands back in towards you, bending the knee you placed in front. Right hand, back of it to the outside of the left knee. Left knee. And the left hand fingertips sliding behind. Take an inhale to sit and an exhale to encourage a twist. You might close the eyes here again. Let the shoulders be at ease. The seat centered, strong, and yet there's a sense of ease around the twist. Let's turn the head forward on the inhale. Relax the upper body on the exhale. And now extend your right leg out and choose where to place the left foot. Of course, preferably top inner thigh, but maybe that's not happening and you need to adjust here. Bring the fingertips down onto the floor to support you. Raise the right side of the hip and pull the leg into the hip. Flex the foot, maybe bend your knee. Take an inhale to lengthen the back and an exhale as you fold over from your hips, adjusting the positioning of the hands. And when you feel ready, you can even tuck the forehead towards the knee. Thinking of that deeper extension of fascia when you do it this way. But if that's not suitable for the neck, of course you wouldn't. And you might just simply allow your nose to look down towards the knee. We'll stay here for a few more breaths. Main focal point, the exhalation. Letting your hands come back as we lift the upper body, bending the right knee and the foot comes in front. Let the right hand fingertips go behind and the back of your left hand against the thigh or the knee. Inhaling again to sit and then exhaling for the twist. You might close the eyes again. Keep yourself tall, shoulders relaxed. On the inhale, bring the head forward. On the exhale, return the body to the front, removing any type of seated support underneath you. Gather things you might need for your relaxation. And if you choose to, you can lie down in any way you like, but maybe you're hugging the knees in and the nose goes down towards the knees. And if you like, you can lift the feet off the floor and roll down onto your back. Let your hands cap the knees. And when you're inhaling, just extending the knees and the arms. And on the exhale, squeezing the knees back into the chest. Inhaling, pushing the knees away. Exhaling, drawing them back in. Continue that rocking movement for a few more rounds, just gently releasing from your lower back. And you could then choose to slide the hands down to your shins and squeeze the legs in a little bit more deeply. And you could then rock the body for a little while from side to side. It's then time to release into Shavasana. 2 options: feet out wide and knees dropping in, or legs extended and toes rolling out. Arms can be the same for all. Shoulder blades under, arms a little away from the body and the palms facing upward. You could be resting your knees over a bolster or cushioning. You could have your head on a soft surface too. But aligning the nose with the navel so the spine is aligned and coming into complete stillness. Most challenging part of this practice, to allow yourself to just be there. Feeling the body connecting again to the ground underneath. Detaching then, if possible, from the body. Letting the body be as there's no more movement, or we don't cause any sensations. And you might choose to incorporate, beside the strength and joy, the healing from our card for this week. There is an affirmation here as well that you could allow to sink in as well. It says, the true essence of your soul is one of complete health. The true essence of your soul is one of complete health. While your mind may rest over these intentions, it could also just simply rest over the flow of air in and out of your nose. Gently begin to deepen the breath, reinvigorating the body as you might bring in some gentle movements or stretching. Whether you then choose to bend your knees and roll to your side, or you choose to sit up over the front of the body, joining me in a seated form when you're ready. You may also touch the palms together in front of heart center. Slightly bowing the head towards the heart, just a little. Keep the heart lifting up into the hands as well. Reconnect to the healing, the inner strength, paired with joy. Might even lift the corners of the mouth lightly as you incorporate these three aspects. And with a light bow, extending them to each other. Namaste. Thank you for joining me this morning. I will show you the cards that are picked for today or for this week. There it is. The Ganesha sitting on the peacock. And with its multiple arms, not only holding onto the peacock, but it's displaying its sweet tooth and holding a mango in the hand.